Thanks, Catherine. An update now on former Trump campaign chair Paul Manafort. According to Fox News' John Roberts, Manafort gave polling data to a Ukrainian oligarch to prove that he had a winning candidate. There was no contact, we're told, with a suspected Russian intel officer, as has been previously reported. So it's time now for tonight's Power Panel to dig into all this. Fox News contributors Leslie Marshall, chairman of the American Conservative Union Matt Schlapp, and Fox News contributor, former Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz. Good evening, all.
Good to be here.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
Congressman, I'd like to start with you. What does Rod Rosenstein's departure mean?
It can't happen soon enough. I mean, he's been an obstructionist. He hasn't provided the documents to Congress. He refused to come testify in front of Congress. I hope Lindsey Graham drags him up there as soon as possible. He was conflicted from the very beginning in that he was involved in the FISA abuse, as I see it. And he was also, very much involved, if there was obstruction of justice, I don't believe there was, in making the recommendation to President Trump to fire Director Comey. So he shouldn't be involved in this at all. You can't get a new attorney general fast enough.
Leslie, how do you see it, especially when you consider that this Manafort story, when it first broke yesterday, there were some on the left salivating again, aha, this might lead to collusion, and yet now as you read a little more details, it sounds like there's still nothing there.
Well, I don't think there's nothing there, Ed. I think it was clear Manafort was like, hey, I'll give me tons of money and I'll do almost anything I can. Can the dots connect to any type of a deal to say, okay, we're going to do away with sanctions to Russia? That to me is very premature right now. I was not one of those salivating. But I want to speak to what Jason said about somebody who is obstructing, because I think that's exactly what Barr is doing and why you have Chuck Schumer saying, look, you've got to remove this guy and not nominate him, although the president is going to, obviously, and the Senate Republicans have the majority. Barr, if you remember, when he worked for George H.W. Bush, he wanted his own deputy AG. I think that's what he wanted now. I think that's why this is happening, and I don't think it also signals that there may be an end or a conclusion coming, as Rosenstein wanted, with regard to the Mueller investigation.
How do you see it?
Well, ding dong, the witch is dead. Rod Rosenstein has manipulated the Department of Justice and the Trump administration for far too long. He was part of the biggest disgrace in our political history, using the intelligence services to actually try to stop a presidential candidate. I can't believe that happened in a great country like America. And as far as Leslie's concerned with Bill Barr, he passed by a voice vote the last time he was up for consideration at the United States Senate. He has superlative credentials for this job, and to say that he should already be pulled down just shows you how ridiculous Chuck Schumer has become.
Well, when you talk about ridiculous, the negotiations seem to have completely broken down in terms of trying to move forward and get the government back open. There's some hope maybe there's going to be a broader immigration deal. But take a listen to what Senator John Kennedy, Republican of Louisiana, said earlier about the Speaker of the House.
I don't know how you can negotiate with someone who, like Speaker Pelosi, who hates her fellow negotiator more than she wants to solve the problem. Beauty fades. Dumb is forever. I don't know how to. I said 3 weeks ago that as long as Speaker Pelosi is in charge of these negotiations, we'll never work it out.
Congressman?
Yeah, totally agree. You always love Senator Kennedy. He's got a colorful way of saying it. But listen, Donald Trump has been willing to negotiate, but when you have somebody who says, I'm going to go from 0 to 0, then you're not going to get anywhere, and it's about border security. When you're doing what the Border Patrol wants, what they need in terms of an impediment to slow down this massive flow of illegal immigration, the president's on the right side of the issue, and ultimately, I got to believe that's what prevails.
Leslie, I see you shaking your head. Let me just add one more element. Democrats have repeatedly suggested they have the upper hand in these negotiations. So we were struck a little while ago. We were looking at Twitter, and Cher, who normally supports Democrats, was tweeting out all caps, Democrats, stop the shutdown before Trump does. He'll be the hero, make you look like obstructionist swamp scum. He has no scruples. He's playing it right, and you're playing right into his hands. He'll eat your lunch and steal your lunch. What's happening on the left tonight?
Well, Ed, I think it's funny that you have decided that Cher is speaking for my side of the aisle in the party, even though she's lovely and has opened her home to people in Malibu
I just think she looks a little nervous. There's some on the left who are a little nervous.
She's a great singer. I'm not looking to her for political analysis or Democratic strategy work. That's my job. I see it in fairness is President Trump, and I'm sorry, Jason, President Trump, this is a campaign promise. Democrats have no reason to support and to fulfill a promise of any Republican, including the president. That's what this is. This is not really about border security. We already had a bipartisan deal to increase Border Patrol agents, and that would increase the number of jobs in America.
Then tell that to the Border Patrol. You're in direct contradiction of the Border Patrol.
Wait a minute. To repair the fence that we already have. The problem here is, if you want real border security, a wall does nothing, and neither do drones for the tunnels that are dug currently underground at the border just south of me, 2 hours south of me, by drug dealers that are putting drugs in and trafficking people out.
Look, walls work. Every time we build walls, illegal immigration crossings go to the basement. But let's look at what's going on here with the shutdown. The fact is, Nancy Pelosi will never be for any deal because she can't be for any deal because her caucus is so left, it's frightening. Chuck Schumer knows that this is a loser for Democrats in the end, Democrats that are up in 2020. I look for him to be the adult in the room. We'll be out of this soon.
We'll see if they get a deal. Leslie, Matt, Jason. Congressman, I was going to tease you about losing final exam on Tucker's show. We'll have to save that amount of time. Sorry about that.
My therapist said I can't talk about that right now. So.
All right, thanks, guys.